Hi my friend, it's Pat Sloan here for my daily video, and it is Black Wednesday and we're wrapping up cozy things. You should hopefully have done all of your blocks. They were easy. You just did one a week. It was fun, right? Then you had to set them, and hopefully did that, kind of as you went along, so that when you got the last block, boom, all you had is like the border to put on, put the strips and the border. Perfect, right? So here is mine. Cozy things all done, and I was doing the border and had a little decision making about how I wanted to handle it, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to tape that so you can see the thought process I went through on working with the snowflake fabric for that inner border part. There's white, red snowflake, white to rim the whole quilt. So here's a video where I was working through what I was going to do. When I was doing the inner border for the cozy things, I wanted to be sure that I used my fabric effectively because this is a pretty large print, the snowflake. So let me show you what was going on when I took a look at it. So I've got you down here on the side of my cutting table. I'm on the back side of my sewing machine. I'm usually sitting over there. So I'm cutting 2-inch strips, but if you look real close, and I do 2-inch strips, this is where I'm at. That strip is going to be like between these snowflakes where there's hardly anything there. And I'm actually going to cut this one just to show you. There we go. Whoops. So now look at this. There would be my 2-inch strip, and really that's not very pretty. I have gorgeous fabric, I have gorgeous snowflakes, and this is not attractive. So if I want to do 2-inch strips, I can put them right on the snowflake, which is pretty much here, or I have quite a bit of this, so I could actually fussy cut it, and meaning I could place it. That's what fussy cut means. And I could do the 2-inch strip right down the middle of the snowflakes. I can also enlarge it. I could go to a 3-inch strip, which I'm kind of thinking about making it a 3-inch strip, and that way I will get this whole row. And I will open this up to cut it so that I'm sure when I open it up that I get, the backside isn't shifted any. And I could cut this whole row for the 3-inch strip, which would be an inch bigger than what is on the pattern. Because when I did the 2 strips for the quilt itself, let me swing you around to my design wall on the other side. So there you go. There you can see on the design wall, I have got the bigger, wider snowflakes, so they really, they act differently than does, when you cut a wider strip, then you have the wider snowflakes. So there's what you want to think about is don't end up with something like this, like that. That's really not, and they're still going to have a 1/4 inch off on either side. So all you would have with like mostly red and these little pops, I don't know, it's just not as pretty as having the snowflake right down the middle. So that's really how I handle it. That's the exact process I go through when I was thinking. It was like, okay, I'm going to make this better by just adjusting that inner border a little bit. There's really no math. I mean, it's not like I had a pieced border or something that was difficult to figure out. It was just that little adjustment, making that a little bit wider. And there you can see it. I think it looks like a ribbon now because it looks on purpose. The snowflakes are centered all the way around, and because the way this print is, there was like one row. I'll hold to see if you can tell. There was, let's see, I think it has to go this way because there you can see it. When you have the fabric the other direction, it looks more tossed, but they're actually verticals here, and they're nestled into each other. They're sort of alternating, and so they're different. So I cut 2 of them from one side, 2 sides from one row and 2 sides from a different row, so that they looked a little bit different. I didn't want all 4 sides from the same row. It's looking identical. I wanted to mix it up a little bit because the snowflakes, what do they always say? Snowflakes, there's no 2 alike. I want to have somebody prove that. How do you know there's no two alike? There's a lot of snowflakes out there. Lots of them falling down whenever it snows. And speaking of that, today is Wednesday and we are scheduled for some snow later today. We'll see if that happens. Often we get a little bit or nothing where I live. This sort of passes around us. We'll see. Greg would like to use his old snowblower. It was always exciting, the first snow. You can get the snowblower out, fire that beast up. It is a beast. It is probably 60 years old. He got it from his dad, who got it from a buddy at the work. So it was old when his dad got it, and Greg took it over when his dad was a bit older and got a easier to use one. Imagine that. So now we own the beast. So I've also got my binding ready. So I want to have a discussion, we'll do it towards the end, about some planning, because it has to do with this quilt. So, okay, before we do that, jelly roll, jelly roll. Here I am. I have got my jelly roll blocks. I had to press all those open like that. And these are all in my Morrison Park fabric. And then I have a little, then I have one more side. So I've got this side, which has the other square in the corner. So that has to go on. And they're all here waiting in the rolling assistant on the top. So that's pretty good. So I figured I will get that done in the next day or so, because I'm working on another project for this month. I have 2 more projects to show you this month. 1 more project to show you. No, 2. 1 you may have seen already, but I'm going to re-show it to you. So there'll be 2 projects. I'll call it 2 this month. So I'm working on those as well, but I can't show them till they're ready. And how many more days in this month? What, like 15? Yes. All right, I'm excited. I'm excited. I have these ready to press. All right, the topic for today is duplicates. You create, okay, you can leave a comment, you can show a picture over at Facebook, but you create something like this, which is a bag of duplicate things that you know, tools, duplicate tools to take when you are not sewing at home. You know, or it might even be when you're sewing somewhere else in the house. Like maybe if you're hand sewing, you have a duplicate set for sitting in one area, and you just have a duplicate set of needles and pins and scissors and stuff for another area. But this is the bag that I've taken on travel to teach for 18 years. I took this on the road to teach. So some of you will have been in my classes. This is the bag that you saw that I took along. It had everything from, a box of Band-Aids, because I was the teacher and it was easier to be able to grab the Band-Aids out of my box for somebody who cut themselves, to a straw, like I don't know why I have a straw in there, rubber bands, but also, things like, I'll just show you this, like I had scissors and rotary cutter and scissors in there, and then things here like the bias maker and glue and needles, and I carried all this stuff. Now we drove to events, so since 99% of the time we drove, so I could bring a lot more stuff. If I were flying, I'd have to reduce that way down. Probably wouldn't be taking all those kind of things. But this is a bag that I know everything is in here I need. I also had a little mini rotary cutter in my case. I had thread. I had a small cutting mat, rulers in my travel teaching case. So those are the kind of things. Do you do that? Do you have one of those set up? Tell me about your duplicate system. That'll be fun. Okay, so the plan. I want to know first, have you been putting things into your plan? Have you been writing them down? Have you been putting some dates? Have you decided you're doing a 3-month plan or whatever? I've sort of started mine. I haven't gone in to put dates. I haven't gone in to finesse it, because I want to get some solid items in there that have things I actually will do, not just sort of dreamland. You know, I might have some dreamland things. You know, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to build a, you know, a trellis in the garden. You know, that's like, oh, do I really want to do that? You know, will I do that? That's sort of a dream thing. But for the end of this year, if I was going to do this, just the part that's on sewing, what do I want to accomplish by the end of the year? Because my original goal was to have all the tops that I made done by the end of the year. Done meaning quilted. Well, let's see if I can pick this up. It's actually kind of heavy when it's just flimsies. These are flimsies. These are my tops. These are, I will have, if I don't quilt anything else, or have anything else quilted for me, I will have 7 tops, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, no, this is 7. I'll have 9. I'll have 9 tops because I have this one, that's 8, and then I have the jelly rolls, that's 9. So I'll have 9 tops. And then I have some bindings from this year, which I have like, I think 4, plus the Dear Jane that I would really like to do. So what I need to do is take all of that and figure out I've got, you know, 15 days, or if I just say, let's be conservative and say I have 10 days. I have 10 days that I will actually work on these things because I'm doing planning for next year's project and some things like that. So, but that's like, sometimes that's just an excuse, isn't it? You really could fit it in if you just sat down and had a plan. You just sat down and wrote how, you know, what you will work on those days. So if I took 10 days and said I would do a binding a day, that'd be 4 of the days. Maybe I do 2 bindings one day. Could happen. But out of this group, there's no way I'm going to want to quilt all these myself, particularly. You know, I have been doing mostly sending my quilts away, a lot of them, because it's just been easier for me to do that. Time-wise, you know, exhaustion-wise, you know, I get a little worn out sometimes at the end of the day when it would be when I was quilting. So I'm thinking, do I want to do one of them with my wave stitch, which might take me 2 or 3 days to do a bigger quilt? And so out of all this pile, I have got like, I've got like the rainbow quilt. I have the spools. I have the stay at home, which would be very cool to have done, since this sort of kicked off the entire thing of me doing the daily videos and us trying to support us supporting each other through the pandemic and staying at home. So stay at home is kind of high on my list. This one is not high on my list. This is a Jolly Bar one that I did. Then I have the little ones like the deer, he won't get done. And I have the big bird. Big Bird is so cute, but I'm thinking of saving him for making him into a baby quilt and putting some more borders on him. I have to show you Big Bird. This was from the charity project. There he is. So cute. Done in my Bonnie Lane fabric. I'm thinking of just putting another border on that one so it's a little bit bigger and it could be a baby quilt. So he's not high on the list. And then I had a little project, a button club project, which is actually a little bit bigger and also would be cute for a baby quilt if I just made it, yeah, so it's a pretty big. So it's about, you know, that's a pretty big one. If I just put a border on that, that could be a baby quilt. I don't know why I'm thinking all these baby quilts. It's just because they're small. Anything that gets close to the size of a baby quilt, it's like, yes, baby quilt. So how would you handle it? What would you do? Would you do bindings? Would you do one machine quilting and get the bindings all done? That's where I'm leaning. Would you instead ship these out and have somebody else quilt them, except for the ones I want to make a little bit bigger? Would you just wait till next year and do something else this year? Decisions. I kind of like to have this one quilted too, so that I could use it. So I could send a couple to the spa, to Cindy and Dennis, and then quilt one of them myself because, you know, I can do the wave quilt. It's a little stressful on my hand to do too much free motion. I can do something small, but if it gets bulky, I have to hold on to it too much and the hand starts to ache. So it's particularly my left hand. So I'm still not totally ready for that much. All right, let me know what you think. there's yeah, there's many ways to do this, but the important part is the plan. I'll have a link below. You can download this sheet. You can put in your date, put in your items, and we can make things happen, my friend. We can do it. So, links down below. I love you. Mwah. See you online.